everybody, and welcome back to Hot Take. Today we are in a 1977 MG Midget. We have Shane here. This is his MG Midget. Shane, tell us a little bit about this car.
Alright, so this is a, like you said, 77 MG Midget. Bought it as my first car. I figured if I was going to get something used, might as well get something classic. So here we are. It was the second owner. Original owner was older guy, of course. And he bought it when it was new and stored it in a barn for most of its life. Took it out a couple summers. It's only 57,000 miles on it.
That's low.
He bought it when it was new, kept it around, kind of got tired of it. And then the guy that I bought it from was one of his old buddies, and he bought it off the original owner on a drunk night out between the both of them. The guy that I bought it from, he just couldn't fit into it, and his wife didn't really appreciate that he bought a car on a drunk night out. So
that's fair.
So that's where I come in. Got it for $3,250, and since then I've put about $2,000 into it, and here she is. She still needs a couple of nooks and crannies looked at, but it's running pretty nice.
Well, for under $6,000, pretty solid car.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go ahead and take this thing out on the road and see how she rips.
Doesn't rip. She tears slowly.
There we go.
There's not a whole lot of room at first.
Nope, not at all. Oh.
Congratulations, you're in third and you're lower than 30 miles an hour.
Is that speedo accurate?
Yep, well, almost. It's with the bigger tires. It's I want to say 4 miles per hour lenient, so you're going 4 miles per hour faster than the speedo shows.
Oh, okay. Alright, that's okay. Initial impressions. It is loud.
Oh yeah.
Very, very loud.
Yeah, they really didn't know what they were doing with noise canceling, noise suppression at all.
Is this does it need motor or trans balance or something, or is that normal?
Hey, as far as I know, it's normal-ish. It shouldn't do as much, but yeah, I need to check the transmission mounts.
Okay. Wow, this is an experience. It's very, very visceral. You hear everything.
Oh yeah. You know exactly what's going on with the engine.
That's third?
Yep.
Okay.
You have a lot of room in fourth. Fourth goes from around 45 all the way to 90.
And speed up here. So we're going about 50 right now.
Yep.
So this is like cruising highway speeds, basically.
Basically.
Oh my gosh. You feel like you're in a bucket.
It's
Wow.
a bucket from the 70s. What do you expect?
Right. Okay.
I like to say it's an experience for sure. You definitely feel like you're in old days where there wasn't really a whole lot of safety regulations.
The seating position's interesting. You sit very upright in this car. The steering wheel's upright, your seat's upright.
And you can the seats are adjustable. I forgot to tell you that.
They are or not?
They are.
Okay. The seating position I'm in is okay.
I just like to seat more upright. And so when you're going from second to third or fourth to third, just make sure you're pushing, well not pushing, but at least resting your hand down so it doesn't pick up in reverse. I've done that before and it's really not pretty.
Okay. Alright. I'm glad you told me that. I haven't done that, but you said,
just keep pressure down.
Oh, right.
while
So it
you're going
doesn't,
into
okay.
third.
Yeah, it's because the lockout is you pull it up and then, yep. Okay, that makes sense.
And it really likes to pick up into reverse, so.
Right, that's what it's gonna want to do. I've never driven anything like this. Although fourth, because it's so short, fourth is like it's still really fun like go gear.
Yeah, I just like that it's you get to hear all the noises and you get the satisfaction of putting the pedal to the ground, but you're not breaking any rules.
Right. Brake pedal feel is not very good.
One more time.
So brake pedal feels not very good.
Yeah, the brakes are definitely worn. That's my next. I need to swap the bearings on the front, and I need to check the brakes.
Okay. Yeah, it's wow. I'm trying to think about how I describe this. It felt a little floaty in the terms, which is weird. Is the suspension on this, is it all refreshed, or are you still
Nope.
working through
No,
it?
it's all original suspension. It's leaf springs in the back.
Okay. That might be why it feels floaty then. Maybe it's just a little worn. But everything communicates to you really nicely.
I really like the fact that it's everything you're doing is straight to the motor. You don't have a buffer of you have to tell the computer to tell the engine. It's just you're telling the engine what to do.
Right. I mean, that's how they were back in the 60s and 70s. These things were mechanical. It was you, the driver, that was doing all the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is really interesting. The shifter feels really good too. It's got a nice mechanicalness to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I drove a 1987 series a few weeks ago, and this was, it's interesting, these cars from the same era, but they're two completely different cars from the same era. They still kind of have a similar shifter feel and like steering feedback. Just really cool. Man, I'm going the speed limit and I'm having so much fun.
Exactly. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, you don't need to break the speed limit in this car. Is the exhaust stock or is it missing pieces?
No, it's the stock exhaust. The mounts are actually pretty good. I checked it before.
Yeah.
What's surprising about it is that the engine is much louder than you think. The stock exhaust has two silencers buckets on it.
Right. So it's basically as muffled as you could get this thing.
Yep.
It's just a loud.
Yep. It's a loud car.
Yeah. Yeah, fourth gear is really the gear they use for most of these roads.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh.
Woo!
Trying to figure out where the car is. The steering has a bit of vent space.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Like I said, that original manual, it tells you exactly what's in it, down to the nuts and bolts, what part numbers it is, and it basically tells you how to build them from scratch, piece by piece.
That's cool. We're gonna go for a 3.4.
It sounds like you're doing a whole lot, but you're not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, we're going 55 there.
Woo!
Wow. It's very raw. Now what is like the, I see the red line on the tach. What does it rev to safely?
I have to check. I know, I want to say the tach is accurate.
Okay. So I think I revved it to like 5,500 there. Do you ever really, like, is 6,000 fine? Or, I wouldn't go to 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to 7. I'd say 6,000 is pushing it, but
Yeah.
I'd say you're most likely fine.
Okay, just kind of keep it out of the red.
Yep.
Right on. Yeah, no rev limiters, no ABS,
Nope.
no traction control, nothing. This is as bare bone as they come.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Back roads is fine, but if I have the top down on the freeway, it just kind of flaps open because I don't have the securing straps for it.
Yeah. Wow.
You can have a whole lot of fun going 60 miles an hour.
This is a car this is the definition of slow car fun.
Oh yeah.
You just get a bunch of feedback, a bunch of sensory input, but you're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
I had to really try and make that go 16. Honestly, second gear, you don't really use second in this car. 1, 2 are takeoff gears. This is if you need more speed, you drop the third, and then you go.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people switch the trains out for a 5-speed to give that engine a little more room to push.
Right.
Let her rip. That's 40. Now you're at 50. And that's your 0 to 60.
Wow.
You can put a timestamp on
for 10 seconds there. Oh my lord.
It's one hell of a ride, isn't she?
That's a lot of fun. The 3.4 feels really weird because it's, I don't want to say long, but it almost, how do you close this?
So push close and then you flip the lever forward.
Forward. Oh, then yeah. Oh, there we go. Like I was saying, 3.4, I feel like because there's not a lot of power, the gearing's fine, but you usually don't rev it out all the way. Because I mean, if you want to get this thing to 6,000, you gotta keep it in there for a while. You gotta try.
Yep.
So you end up shifting around 5, then you throw it to 4, and you're back at 3,500. But I mean, that's really the power band for this car.
Yeah, the gear ratio is definitely a bit wonky in some places. I just changed the alternator.
Yeah.
To try and what's it called? Troubleshoot the screen.
Yeah.
I see the red one's the alternator light.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking either the belt is slipping or I guess I might not have tightened the ground screw all the way down. But I mean, old car, since it's running, you really don't need the alternator for it to run. If the thing went out completely, you're still going, you're fine.
Not like a new car where you lose everything.
Exactly.
That's kind of cool.
So some different noises you might be hearing. One is the old school carburetor, the Weber car, like the air noise. There's 2 air noises under the hood.
I can hear that.
It's the air jets. They're just so tiny. They're trying to suck so much air.
Yeah.
That's a little bit from the carburetor, and then also the fan. It's a meaty fan. You hear a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then one more thing up front is the old glass fuses. They tend to arc, so you might hear some buzzing up on here. I don't think I've heard it the whole time just yet. It's usually on the freeway that I hear it. The old glass fuses tend to arc.
Right.
And then in the back is the inline fuel pump that tends to have a little bit of a hissing noise.
Oh, right on. You hear a lot of the operation of the car in here.
Yep.
Come on. Probably a little below 70. Man, if you want to make this thing go 70, 80 miles an hour, you gotta try.
Yeah, it definitely takes some work to get her up to 90. It takes a second.
I guess I could see 90, but yeah, you're at about the top of your speed there. This thing also doesn't really like 6,000. I noticed kind of in second gear as it started to get to 6, it started to kind of drop off.
Yep.
So I think 5,500 is a good shift point. First or second?
Second if you're rolling.
Oh, we'll just... Not bad.
Nice thing about it being so small, you barely even need the mirrors. You can just turn your head and
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no blind spot.
That's what I was doing. Yeah, I was turning my head to look. We've now finished the test drive of the 1977 MG Midget. It was very, very fun, very visceral experience. It is the definition of slow car fun. 55 horsepower, right?
Yep, 55 brake.
Yeah, 55 brake horsepower. Car doesn't weigh a lot. We'll put specs in the description. But it's just a load of fun. There's not a lot like this. There's this perfect 40 to 60 mile an hour back road fun, not breaking the speed limit in this thing. Thank you, Shane, for coming onto the channel. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers about this car?
If you can find one, get one.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a bucket list car. Everyone should try this if you're a car person. It's just the definition of what a driver's car should feel like. With that, let's give it a score. Utility. The MG Midget has only 2 seats, not a lot of room, a lot of wind noise, and doesn't ride amazing. To be frank, it just sucks as a car. It gets 1 out of 10. Features. Materials are okay, but there's virtually 0 features, unless you count crank windows and these cool little side open windows. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save it. It gets a 1 out of 10. MPG. There are no official EPA ratings for this car, but most of the sources online estimated somewhere in the low 20s as an average, so it gets 5 out of 10. The weekend categories, where this car starts to shine. The cool factor. MG Midgets are cool. Not exotic or special, but anyone can appreciate this car and understand the appeal. I also think the styling is very classic and well suited for a car like this. It gets 5 out of 10. Driver's feedback. The steering is a little vague because of the dead on center, but the road feel is good. All the other driver inputs are straight to you and you pretty much hear everything that is going on in this car. The only pitfall is how the car communicated with the driver dynamically. The suspension felt a bit soft and didn't communicate as well to the driver as it would have hoped. The dead on center and the steering added on to this effect and made me less confident than I feel like this car wanted me to be. This particular car may not have been a perfect example given it still needs some work, so the score may change later on if I get to drive another one, but I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Acceleration, it gets a 1 out of 10. Should you buy it? The MG Midget is the Miata before the Miata existed. An affordable, simple, granted, very slow roadster. They are outdated and they don't really hold much value performance-wise in the modern automotive world, but there's something charming about it. I've never driven another car that had me as entertained as this did going only 55 miles an hour. On the value side, they are cheap. You probably should be willing to get your hands greasy if you own one, but they are very easy to work on. It gets a 9 out of 15, putting it here on our list. The score is no surprise. The MG Midget isn't very good as a car. This is a very affordable toy relative to other automotive toys. With everything going up, there aren't many cheap, bare-bone enthusiast cars around like this anymore. I don't think the MG Midget is for everyone, but it's a car that everyone should try at least once. Oh, you're in this thing. Wow. Okay. Well, I actually have nothing. It's actually not terrible.
Yeah, once you get in it, it's not too bad.